No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for Monday, December 2nd, 2024. We're coming off the WWE Survivor Series PLE. This was a very newsworthy edition of Raw. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this recap. Very eventful show. We kicked off Raw with a recap from Survivor Series, and then we had CM Punk arriving in the arena. He shook hands with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. He came to the ring. He talked about how at Survivor Series, he took care of personal business for his friend, Paul Heyman. There were ECW chants. He talked about his future. He pointed to the top of the arena where the WrestleMania sign usually is around WrestleMania season. He said that he has many roads to get to WrestleMania, whether it's the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, or that favor that is in his pocket. So what is that? But before he could elaborate any further, we had Seth freaking Rollins showing up. Rollins came into the ring. He said he should have knocked CM Punk's ass out the day Punk came back to WWE, but Rollins had pity for CM Punk after Hell in a Cell and didn't take his shot when he had the chance. But then, after Survivor Series, he realized it was time to rectify his mistakes. Rollins took off his jacket, and Punk responded by saying that Rollins talks too much and doesn't listen enough. Punk said that Rollins no longer has the world title, so Rollins has nothing that Punk wants. Punk said that he doesn't think about Rollins at all. And he told Rollins to stay out of his business. Now, Rollins responded by saying, this WWE is his business. He shoved Punk down. Punk got up. They got into a brawl. And then Sami Zayn and Jey Uso ran out there to separate them. Rollins got on the mic. He started speaking his mind. Told Jey Uso to go back to Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn did not appreciate this line, so he confronted Rollins in the ring, and Rollins wanted to know what was Sami Zayn's excuse for teaming up with Roman Reigns, because Sami Zayn is not family. He loves Sami Uso, but Rollins said him and Zayn are closer than Zayn and Reigns have ever been. Zayn responded to this saying that he didn't want CM Punk on the Survivor Series team, but they needed a man. He wanted Rollins. He asked Rollins twice, but Rollins was too damn stubborn. Zayn said that it was Rollins who created the monster of Roman Reigns by putting that chair in Reigns' back all those years ago, making reference to the Shield breakup angle. Now, Rollins responded by saying he understood the sins that he committed. He apologized for that. But Zayn did the exact same thing when Zayn hit Reigns in the back with a chair at the 2023 Royal Rumble. Rollins said he understood why Zayn did that. Reigns never apologized, which is something we've all brought up here on the No DQ streams, that Reigns never actually apologized to Sami Zayn. Rollins said that Sami Zayn is just being really stupid. And Zayn responded by saying that if Rollins wanted to blow up some steam or blow off some steam, he was fine having a match on Raw, the two of them, and Rollins agreed and took his leave. And this was all one continuous segment, no commercial breaks. We had the first 30 to 40 minutes of Raw commercial free. This was excellent. Everything about this was great. It all made sense too. Like you can understand everyone's point of view. You can understand Sami Zayn. You can understand Seth Rollins. There were numerous callbacks in this segment referencing the Shield breakup, Sami Zayn's angle with Roman Reigns, and the fact that Roman Reigns never apologized. All this stuff was true. And that's what made it such a compelling segment, that you could really understand everybody's perspective in this and understand the heat that's brewing with everybody in this segment. Extremely well done. Like, this is one of those times where WWE actually thought out everything here, had it made sense, and everybody went out there and put on some very convincing performances. You continue to set up Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Now you got heat with Jey Uso and Seth Rollins, and you got heat with Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. So you, in one long segment here, which flew by really fast, you just set up 3 future pay-per-view matches. Like, you got 3 different feuds going on here in one. Just excellent writing, which you don't get too often in wrestling. But this was really well done. This was a home run, absolute home run. I thought this was a brilliant segment, A+ segment to start off the show. Absolutely great. Now backstage, we had Finn Baszler with the Judgment Day. Finn Baszler is basically taking charge now. He said that Judgment Day wins when they listen to Finn. More on that later. We had our first match of the evening, the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. Actually, no, that was not the first match, so scratch that. Our first match was Liv Morgan and Raquel against Damage Control, Io Sky and Kairi Sane. They did confirm that at Saturday night's main event, it will be Liv defending the women's championship against Io Sky. So this was a little bit of a preview for that. Now, Io was able to avoid the Tahana bomb from Raquel, and then Io came off the top with a missile drop kick to Raquel. Then Kairi Sane tagged in, came off the top with the insane elbow, but Liv Morgan was able to break up the pin, and then Raquel recovered. She hit the big boot to Kairi and then pinned her with the Tahana bomb to get the win for her team, which they definitely needed after losing at War Games. So this was a good finish here. Raquel picks up a win. Kairi really the only one that should be taking a fall of the 4 of them, considering they're doing Liv Morgan versus Io Sky at Saturday night's main event. Match was pretty basic, but it accomplished what it needed to. They continued the attack after the match. Then Rhea Ripley ran down and she brawled with Raquel on the outside, but Liv Morgan got involved. It was 2-on-1. And then Raquel sent Rhea Ripley eye first into the announcer desk, which, of course, Rhea Ripley just coming off of that orbital bone injury. Another good angle here. And this set up a match for next week. It will be Raquel one-on-one with Rhea Ripley. Will Rhea Ripley be able to get that one more title opportunity at some point? Time will tell. Now we had Finn Baszler confronting Gunther backstage, saying that Gunther owes him a title match. And Gunther responded by saying he doesn't owe Finn Baszler anything. Never asked for his help. Gunther thinks that Dominic Mysterio actually deserves a match because Dominic beat Damian Priest, something Finn Baszler could not do. More on that in just a little bit. We had our Intercontinental title tournament match. Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler versus Katana Chance. It was a good match. Katana used her speed and agility, tried to pin both of them, and then she got sent out of the ring. So it was down to Shayna and Dakota. Baszler put on the Kirifuda clutch, but then Katana came off the top with the 450. And then Dakota Kai quickly took advantage of Katana, kicked her in the head, and picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Dakota Kai advances. And I wonder if she's even part of Damage Control now, because she had her own entrance music, and I wonder if they're going in a different direction with her. Will she become the first female Intercontinental Champion? That remains to be seen. She definitely seems to be one of the fan favorites in this tournament. And by the way, if you missed it, you could check out the full bracket over on NoDQ.com. And yeah, there was no way Katana was winning this one. So when I saw this match, I figured Dakota was probably the most likely person to win this one. We had a video package for the New Day, hyping up the 10-year anniversary of the New Day. And then we had Adam Pearce in the ring introducing the New Day. Here we go. This was a heavy segment. We had the props on the stage, the giant Booty-O's cereal. We had Francesca, the trombone. We had the pancakes, all the great moments of the New Day over the past 10 years. Xavier and Kofi thanked the fans, but then it seemed like they were about to announce their breakup. But before they could do that, Big E made his return to Monday Night Raw. Now, Big E has been doing the kickoff panels and been doing outside projects while he waits to hopefully get cleared one day after suffering a broken neck. Big E came in and said that all this fighting between Kofi and Xavier had troubled his soul. And he said 10 years ago, they bonded together and they had all these great personal moments. And he said, until he is medically cleared, he is going to remind them exactly who they are. Big E said he will be on TV every single week to serve as their manager. But then Xavier, with the one word, now, you knew there was some deep stuff coming. Xavier said that Big E left them, broke his neck, and didn't come back. And Kofi agreed with Xavier. He said, so what? He said Steve Austin broke his neck and came back. Kurt Angle broke his neck and came back. Big E responded by saying he's been doing everything possible, all the tests, all the scans. And Kofi said that Big E should have been back a long time ago. But instead, Big E chose his new girlfriend over them, Mia Yim's sister, and chose a desk job over them. Xavier then, he just took that knife and stuck it in deeper and twisted it. Xavier called Big E a burden and said that, let's face it, Big E is never going to be medically cleared. And then told Big E to get the hell out of the ring and get back to his desk where he belongs. Big E was very distraught. He wanted a hug. He came in for a hug, tried to mend things here, but Kofi just pushed him back. And Big E at this point, very upset, left the ring. And then Kofi Kingston looked over at Xavier Woods, and they said that from now on, it's just them. And the two of them shook hands, and it appears now that the New Day, as we knew it, is over. Man, what a segment. I don't even know where this is going, but it did not go exactly the way I was expecting. I thought Big E was going to bring them back together, but no, we did not get that. And in fact, we got Kofi Kingston going in the heel direction, which is something that we really haven't seen much. It was Xavier Woods that was teasing the heel turn. But now we got both Kofi and Xavier essentially kicking Big E to the curb and going at it on their own. So is this, in fact, a full ending to the New Day? Is this the end of the group? Does Big E come back at some point? Where does this go from here? Will he be cleared again? Whatever happens, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Kofi Kingston and Xavier, and then what happens if and when Big E comes back. And Greg brings up a good point here. Technically, Big E brought them back together, just not the way we were expecting. This was an incredible segment. I thought the first segment of Raw was great, and then somehow they produce yet another really compelling angle with this seemingly end of the New Day. I mean, Kofi Kingston and Xavier still together, but not with Big E. Now, there are some super chats here. Let me get to those. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a very generous $20 super chat. Says, now I want to see the Usos versus the New Day at WrestleMania. Well, that could be very interesting. Again, are they the New Day or are they just Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods? Time will tell on that one. And what's happening with Big E. But if they're heels for the foreseeable future, I'd love to see WWE run that back again. Get the Usos back together against Kofi and Xavier. That would be a hot match. So many new possibilities have opened up now with this angle. And that's what is so great about it, that they did something here to change things up. You know, they're probably going to get new music, new presentation. Hopefully Def Rebel can come up with something good. But yeah, I mean, this was long overdue. Regardless of what happens, this does seem like an end of an era with the New Day as we knew it. Walter, shout out to Walter. He sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, New Day had points, though. Can't really deny that. And again, like the opening segment, even though they were acting very, very mean to Big E, you can understand their perspective because Big E was gone and he could have been a manager all this time. Where was he 2-3 months ago when they were at first having problems? Why did he wait until now to try and get them back together? So in that sense, you can understand their motivation. They're still jackasses for what they did, the way they handled it. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was very compelling how this played out. Emmanuel sent in a $2 super chat. Says, does this mean Big E cleared? If not, then why do this? Well, first of all, I think the purpose of this was to move forward with I keep saying Big E, but maybe they're moving forward with Big E. Hopefully. I think the point of all this was to change things up with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I think they had gone beyond stale with the New Day gimmick, coming out there with the music, doing the same routine. They desperately needed this change. Now, will the three of them get back together? Big E gets cleared? Anything's possible at this point. But I think by doing this, for the time being, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods feel fresh. And it gives them a new lease on life in WWE. So I think that's the point in doing it. Now it's just a matter of, does Big E return and where do they go if and when Big E comes back? D. Martin 5th sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. says, I like the Bloodline. There are chapters to the New Day story. Like the Bloodline, there are chapters to the New Day story. Absolutely. They got 10 years of history, just like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have that 10 years of history. And yeah, I thought it was great how all that came around to this segment and led up to this moment. Is it the breakup? Is it a new day? We'll have to wait and see what happens. And shout out to Tiger, who sent in a £2 or €2 super chat. I always mix them up. Rollins is a hating bum, and he says he's Team Punk. I tend to agree with you on that, and I think that's probably where it's going, although we'll talk about Seth Rollins in just a little bit. I think the crowd will ultimately determine who's the face and who's the heel. But again, you understand Seth Rollins' perspective because Punk came back and they didn't really directly reference it, but Punk doesn't play well with others. And some of us who follow AEW know that things did not end well there for him. So if you're Rollins, you're like, well, this guy is a cancer. He's trouble. You understood his perspective, but also it's been a year now and CM Punk has been playing nice. So maybe Punk's not the bad guy after all. So there's a lot of layers to this. And again, that's what makes it so great. But yeah, I highly recommend the New Day segment if you missed it. And of course, everything with Rollins and Punk and Sami Zayn, I definitely would have you check out if you did not watch it. Anyways, we'll talk more about the New Day, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. We had a backstage video package with Karrion Kross. He's sick and tired of the Wyatt Six. Felt that they crossed the line last week when Nikki Cross got into Scarlett's locker room, and he said he wants them next week. He said they started the fire, and now they are going to burn in it. So next week it will be the Wyatt Six versus the Final Testament. And I think The Miz is part of that match as well. Next up we had Gunther versus Dominic Mysterio. Dominic got his match. Gunther went to Adam Pearce and had it made. Gunther did get in some offense. He used his speed, and then he even hit a low blow. 619, came off the top with a frog splash, but Gunther was able to kick out, and then Gunther recovered. He drilled Dominic with a power bomb and got the 1-2-3 victory. Good match here for what it was. It was entertaining. Dominic didn't get completely squashed, but Gunther had a very nice victory here to continue his dominance as world champion. And then after the match, Finn Balor attacked Gunther, gave him the coup de grace multiple times, and the crowd was actually chanting one more time. They wanted Gunther beaten up more. So is this a face turn for Balor? Is this a face turn for Gunther? I don't know what's going on with this, but there is a follow-up, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Pete Dunne was backstage, and he was interviewed about his match with R-Truth, but then all of a sudden, we had Adam Pearce and officials running over, and somebody had attacked Jey Uso and left him laying in the backstage area. More on that in a few moments. Shout out to Emmanuel, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, a Dirty Dom chant? This is 2004, right? One day, I don't know if it's going to be the immediate future, but one day Dominic's going to be a massive babyface. Like, he's just too entertaining, and he's gonna be a huge babyface one of these days. It's just a matter of when, and it may already be starting to move in that direction. I ultimately think it's going to be the fans that decide we're behind this guy. We want to cheer him. And I think that time could be coming sooner than later. We had we had Pete Dunne versus R-Truth, and the crowd was chanting Butch. Pete Dunne quickly gained the upper hand, but then he was distracted by the fan chants, and that's when R-Truth was able to roll up Dunne and get the 1-2-3 victory, picks up another win over Pete Dunne. It was entertaining for what it was. I mean, it really wasn't much of a match, but the show was just moving at a very fast pace, and at least we got some storylines moving along here. We'll see where this goes. And then backstage, Ludwig Kaiser confronted Braun Breaker and said he put an end to Sheamus at Survivor Series, and nothing is going to stop him now from taking the Intercontinental Championship. And Breaker said he'll talk to Adam Pearce, but he advised Kaiser to get out of Gunther's shadow because Gunther's stock is quickly falling. More teases for the future. They've been teasing Braun Breaker versus Gunther for a while now, and I wonder if we're going to get it at some point in 2025. But yeah, I like the fact that they're teasing future programs down the line. Like one of these days, we are going to get Gunther versus Braun Breaker, and we've had all these little teases to set it up. Very well done. Then we had Sami Zayn backstage talking to Adam Pearce, wanted to know who attacked Jey Uso, and Pearce said, who do you think did it? And Zayn said he thinks it's the guy who he's going to go out there and whoop his ass, making reference to Seth Rollins. But before that, Finn Balor approached Pearce, wanted to know when he's getting his world title match. Pearce wanted to know when Balor's going to defend the tag titles again, but then said that the match will happen. Gunther came to him. Gunther versus Finn Balor at Saturday night's main event. And then next week, they're going to talk about Balor and JD McDonough defending their tag team titles. I have a feeling I know where that world title match is going to end up going. Wouldn't shock me if Priest shows up and costs Finn the match, and it's the never-ending cycle here. But yeah, they got Saturday night's main event stacked up now. We got 4 or 5 matches confirmed for that. Shaping up to be a pretty big episode of Saturday night's main event for the reboot. We had our main event match. Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. Back and forth competitive match here. Zayn hit the Blue Thunder Bomb and got the win. No, he didn't. Of course, Rollins kicked out. And then Rollins countered the Haluva kick with a super kick. Went for the stop, but Zayn avoided it. And then they were both on the outside of the ring. Rollins told Zayn that his beef is with CM Punk. And Zayn slapped Rollins, said he knows Rollins attacked Jay. So Rollins sent Zayn into the ring post. Zayn fought back, and Zayn was fired up. He grabbed the steel chair. He got in the ring. He was going to use the chair and get DQ'd, but Rollins was yelling, making it clear it wasn't him. And Zayn eventually dropped the chair, went over to Rollins, and then Rollins, small package, got the 1-2-3 victory. And Rollins told Zayn that Zayn's heart, he's got the heart, but he needs to start using his mind. And then he took his leave. Rollins left. And then all of a sudden, we had Drew McIntyre for one more surprise on this show. Drew McIntyre made his return. He attacked Sami Zayn with the Claymore. Drew McIntyre hates CM Punk. And who teamed up with CM Punk at Survivor Series? Sami Zayn. Jey Uso. Again, well thought out here. And now we can transition Drew McIntyre into a new feud because these guys teamed up with the guy he hates the most. So now he's going to turn his attention to them. So a great way to get Drew McIntyre back and get him focused on some new storylines and feuds. Awesome. I loved it. Great way to return him. And all in all, I think this was one of the best Raws of the year. Certainly the best of the 2-hour Raws in this current period leading up to the Netflix launch. I mean, this show flew by so quickly. When it was over, I was wanting more. I don't remember the last time I said this. I wanted that third hour. I was ready for that third hour. I was hyped up. They left me wanting more, which is what you should be doing. This felt like an Attitude Era show where they kept it moving fast. They did these big angles on the show. We got a few surprises. And it had no dull moments. Even those shorter matches flew by pretty quickly. And they served a purpose and they advanced storylines. So yeah, I thought this was an excellent show. People that were saying WWE is on the downturn and Survivor Series is the beginning of the end. It's bad booking. It's terrible. Boy, did those people look foolish after this show. Just saying. I mean, WWE's they're still on fire. They sold out this show. They sold 45,000 tickets to the Royal Rumble. No matches. Just because it's the Royal Rumble, 45,000 tickets sold already for the show. I mean, there's no signs of slowing down. You got John Cena returning. The Rock is probably going to show up at some point. WrestleMania is looking hot already. Just when we thought that maybe they were slowing down, they nail an absolute home run. Knocked it out of the park this week. So I am giving Raw an A. Excellent show. One of the best of the year. Either my second or third favorite Raw of the year. I think my favorite is still that one with The Rock beating up Cody Rhodes in the parking lot. Like I don't know if anything can top that until The Rock comes back at least. But yeah, great show. Highly recommend. It was fire. Absolute fire. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. And shout out to Tiger, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, shout out to Jack Perry and AEW. You losers gave us Punk. I couldn't have predicted that. In 2021, when CM Punk showed up in AEW, I thought, okay, there's no way he's going to end up back in WWE at this point. I wouldn't have predicted it in a million years. It just blows my mind how that all played out. Like, it's almost like a pipe dream. Shout out to Walter, Rage of Wrestling, who sent in a generous $10 super chat. Thank you for that. And I agree 100% with Walter's comment here. Says, imagine if this was when we were in high school. Raws like this is what made me want to go to sleep early, to go to school, to talk about wrestling with my friends. That was the Attitude Era Raws. Absolutely. I remember very, very fondly those 1998 Raws. When it was over, I was ready for the next show. I was wanting it to be next week. I every day I would have a countdown, like Tuesday, we're only 6 days away, 5 days on Wednesday, and so forth. I was just ready for that next episode. They had me hooked. And that's what they did with this show. Like, I wish every week could be this compelling. But, you know, they're a little bit more careful with the shows. They're not hot-shotting things constantly like the Attitude Era. But it's really nice when we get these shows every now and then. Gets you hyped up for the future. You know, you definitely want to try to do shows like this every week, but at the same time, you don't want to hot shot too much and do too many things. And I even wonder if they did too much in one show, because you just had so many things happening here. The New Day angle by itself could have carried Raw. The CM Punk stuff by itself could have carried Raw. A Drew McIntyre return by itself could have carried Raw. And they threw all these things into one show. So it was an all-time great Raw for 2024. And maybe in any era of Monday Night Raw, this was a top-tier show. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you can have a great wrestling show without a 20-minute banger with guys kicking out of every move in the book. Just saying. But anyways, guys, I appreciate it. Leave a comment if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. NoDQ.com/YouTube takes you right to the NoDQ YouTube page. A subscription, a like on the video, very much appreciated. And tell a friend. The word of mouth goes a long way. If you enjoyed the video and you like the recaps, the best way you can support is to just tell a friend. Have them check out the video. Subscribe to Walter, too. He puts out great content as well. Thank you, everyone, again. Have a great night. Say yes to NoDQ.com. Vote in the year-end awards over at NoDQ.com. And I will see you all next time.